Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Field of 68's last call. Do you think that you could take down a black bear?
No, hell no.
I'm going to try.
The first person that's going to die has got to be one of the black guys. So.
Cold cuts, they suck.
Are Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce going to get married?
Hell no. Here we go. It's last call.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday evening edition of the last call. My name is Rob Doster. I have Chris Mack with me. I have Tyler Hansborough with me, and we are the Field of 68. And we're going to be here for about the next 28 minutes answering all the questions that you are going to throw at us. We will start with this. Mac, I'm going to go to you first on this one. How far down the seed lines do you think Wisconsin could end up falling after losing at Nebraska and after losing at Michigan?
I think they'll be a 4 or 5 when it's all said and done. I think they'll I could see them being a 5.
In our most recent bracket, let me see if I could find it here. They were a 3 seed, and that was before the loss at Michigan, which is pretty easily the worst loss on their resume. How much do you think that it should impact them, Tyler?
Yeah, it's going to impact them for sure, especially in the Big Ten where there's not a lot of quality wins to be had. So, yeah, I'm with Mac on this. 5. Yeah, I can see him slipping down to a 5 seed.
And I don't necessarily think just after this game they're going to go to a 5, but I think in the course of the season plays itself out. I think that's where Wisconsin lands, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think a 4 to a 5 seed is probably the right spot for him. I really like this question. Both of you guys are going to have to answer it. I'm going to put you on the spot. It's a tough one, man. Who had the better ejection this week? Was it Chris Collins at Purdue, or was it Kelvin Sampson in at home against Oklahoma? I believe that was last night. Mac, go ahead.
I'm going to go with Kelvin Sampson. I mean, obviously, Chris Collins, he talked about it in the press conference, the disparity in free throws. He just had never seen anything like that. His guys feels like are going to the rim. They're being aggressive. And I don't know what it was, 42-8 or something, asinine. But that's over the lifespan of the game. It seemed like Kelvin Sampson got angry at one time. The guy was posting up. They threw it over the top, and he pushed him. He pushed the shit out of him. He knocked him down the lane, caught the high-low, and laid it in. And Kelvin Sampson went ballistic. I don't know if he had something on Netflix he had to get back to, but he went after each and every referee, and it was on one ball. It was early in the game, and it was like a 20-point game, so I didn't know what was going on.
The best part about it, Mac, is that the camera on that game. So the Houston bench was to the left, right? So you couldn't see them on the camera shot because the ball was at the other end of the court. And all of a sudden, you just saw every single player and every single ref look over this way. And then you see Kelvin Sampson come storming in with his finger like this. He got in the face of every single referee. That was a great ejection. Tyler, what do you think was the better one?
I'm going with Chris Collins. And the reason I really like this injection is because the way he went at the refs, and then he stopped and got composure of himself. And then I think he told Zach Edey good game, and then he shook Painter's hand, and then he went back to just losing his mind. And I thought I got a lot of comic relief out of that one. But, yeah, that's why I'm rolling with Chris Collins.
Yeah, and then firing up the away fans is something that I've never seen a coach do before. That was pretty awesome. But I'm going off script here. I think you guys are both wrong. The best ejection of the week was Scott Drew. Did you see what Scott Drew did to get ejected? He got 2 coaching box technicals, the second of which he was trying to say something to the ref. So he put his toe in the box and leaned forward and kneeled with his toe in the box and the rest of his body outside the box. And the ref came over and looked at him and just hit him up and gave him his second tee. And Scott just stood up, looked at the ground, and then just walked off and didn't even say a word. I've never seen anyone try to get around the rule of staying in the coaching box by keeping their toe in it and leaning forward to try to be able to say something. I
don't think that's ever been defined. I don't think that's ever been defined. Are you allowed to have one digit in the box and the rest of your body outside the box? And that's it's probably
Matt,
has to go to the rules committee.
I think it was just defined for us because he got thrown out of a game for
There you
doing
go.
it.
There
Oh
you go.
man, that was an all timer. All right, this is a question from Kyle. Should the NCAA adopt a coach's challenge to avoid the ref issues? And I'm assuming by ref issues he means how much time we spend going to the monitor to review every single damn thing at the end of the game. I actually love this idea. 2 coaches challenges per game for each coach. Mac.
But isn't that going to be in addition to the stuff they already go to the monitor for anyway?
No, you get rid of all that stuff. You only get 2 challenges as a coach.
Well, I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's bad at all. You got to be judicious.
You're sitting there
with
right
it.
now thinking, like, if I get back in and I'm not going to have free timeouts because they have to go check to see whether there should be 3.2 or 3.4 seconds left on the clock, that's what you're thinking about right now.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're taking out everything, because if there's a ball that goes out of bounds and the referee, didn't, or a guy calls a timeout like they did in the Providence Creighton game, like, am I going to issue a coaching challenge to like put more time back on the clock? I mean, I don't think you can sweep away all the problems just by having 2 coaching challenges. And I think going to the monitor more than they already go to is bad for college basketball. It's bad to watch, at least for viewership. I mean, for coaching, it's great. The more stoppages in play for us, the better, but if I'm a player, I don't want that. And if I'm a fan, I certainly don't want that.
Yeah, I think I'm fine just rolling with it. What's the difference between 1.4 seconds and 1.8 seconds? It's 0.4 seconds. It's not going to matter. You're going to make the shot and miss the shot anyway. What about you, Tyler? Are you here for coaches challenges? Do you want to see coaches on the sideline throwing red flags on the court?
Absolutely, I do. But what I really want is I want a little bit of guidance when these refs go to these monitors. Sometimes they go to these monitors and they come back with a conclusion that I didn't even think was in the realm of possibilities. And I would like to see him go to a headquarters situation to where these refs aren't having, a 5 to 10 minute debrief after each one of them watches a different clip of a different angle and, what happened here on this play and that play. And I will say the hook and holds this year and some of these block calls and these late game calls have just been absolute comedy, especially when some of these guys go to the monitor. So I'm all for coach's challenge. I think it would add another element of entertainment. And also I think we could start questioning these refs a little bit more. I would like to see some of these refs get a little better off-season training. And I know Matt can't say this, but if you look at some of the Final Fours, I mean, they've been disasters, especially when they go to these monitors. They're taking forever. They're taking too long, and you never know what they're going to come back with. So I would say guidance when they go to the monitor is the biggest thing.
All right, Mac, I'm going to put you on the spot. You have to answer this question no matter what. Who would be the most likely to take the coach's challenge flag out of their pocket and just fire it at a referee because they were so mad at a call? Who would be the guy doing that? Which coach?
Come on, you really think that's hard to answer? That's your boy. That's your boy, Danny Hurley. Come on, man. That's like the easiest question I think I've ever had. Could you imagine that stare that he'd give after he like launched it at somebody's head?
Do you think he has a good enough arm to actually hit somebody, though?
That I don't know. I would think so. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
As long as he throws better than Goodman. Yeah, as long as he throws better than Goodman. That's the Danny Hurley face. All right, Tyler, real quick. Do you think Xavier can be the 2021 Georgetown and make a run from the bottom of the tournament to win the Big East championship? Are they good enough to be able to do that?
No, I don't believe they're going to do that. Plain and simple, I don't think they have the talent. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, this is Sean Miller right now as he's listening to you. That's how we feel.
Wasn't Georgetown like they were in last place, right?
Something like they were 7-9 in the league. I can't remember what place they were in. They might have been last.
They weren't last.
Yeah. Yeah, we know DePaul's not going to be able to make a run and do it, and Georgetown's only win is a 3-point win over DePaul in the Big East this season. So listen, we'll be right back. We have some more questions to answer, and one of them, Mac, another one is going to put you on the spot.
About hippos and cocaine.
Welcome back to Last Call here on Stadium. Rob Doster, Chris Mack, Tyler Hansborough, and we are the Field of 68. For the next about 18 minutes, we're going to be answering any question that you have for us. This first one comes from Jake. Tyler, which conference will have the most Sweet 16 teams this season?
It'll be the ACC. I can see Carolina getting there. I can see Clemson getting there. I can see Duke getting there. In the ACC, everyone wants to talk trash on it and criticize us. But I will say this, no other conference has the wins that we have in the past 20 years in the tournament or has won more titles than the ACC. So when it's all said and done, we're always there at the end. So I'm going to roll with Old Faithful.
Mac?
I'm going to go Big 12. I think, obviously, outside of Kansas and Houston, there aren't a lot of teams where you say, hey, they're going to be in the Sweet 16 for sure. But I think there'll be a couple surprises, and I think they'll end up with 4.
So I'm going to go. Well, both of you guys are wrong for the record. The correct answer is the SEC because I think that all of Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Kentucky have the firepower to win 2 games. I think South Carolina, you got to put them in the conversation as well. They've done enough to prove that they are good enough to do that. I think they have 3 teams in that conference that I think are very real threats to be able to make a Final Four. And I would not be surprised to see all 5 of those teams last until the second weekend. Here's the other one. This one is also from Jake. Of the power conferences, which conference will have the least number of Sweet 16 teams? We're going to start with you, Tyler. I think we're all going to have the same answer here.
I'm going to go with the SEC. I'm not really sold on them. Kentucky's the one that can be a contender. They're young. South Carolina, Clemson beat them. Not sold on them. And, I'm going to go against you just because you hyped them up. So I'm going to say the SEC.
A spite vote there. What do you got, Mac?
Pac-12.
That's where I'm going to. Pac-12 might get 2 teams in the tournament this year. Yeah.
What's that?
They might get 2 teams in this year. What if we pulled out the Pac-12 and put the Mountain West in the conversation?
Yeah. I think Mountain West will have more teams in the Sweet 16 than the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm. I agree. They're going to get 6 in. They're going to get 6 in. Nevada just won at Utah State last night by 20. And they were the team that was like on the outside by a little bit.
Looking in.
They're going to get 6 teams in the tournament. We got a 6-bid Mountain West brewing. Ready for a 6-bid Mountain West? I'm ready for
It's like the Missouri Valley of yesteryear.
Yeah, it is. It's better. Do you remember the Mountain West? It was 2013 when Steve Alford was still at New Mexico, and Dave Rice was at UNLV, and he had that thing rolling. And Tim Miles was I think it was Tim Miles at Colorado State. It might have still been Larry Eustace, but you had 5 teams from that league. It was the end of the Jimmer Fredette era at BYU. I think he had left the year before, and of that Kawhi team from 2011 with San Diego's. That was when the Mountain West, that was their heyday. They were getting like 3 seeds and 4 seeds in the tournament that year.
Yeah, they're good.
That's a good league. All right, Mac, who's going to win National Coach of the Year?
I mean, he keeps on the same trajectory. How could Lamont Paris not win it? You know, I mean, obviously some guys had some great seasons, but more of those are just sort of fulfilling expectations. I mean, they were picked last in the SEC, and right now they're on top. You know, we'll see if it holds. But, I mean, hell, even if they finish in the top 3, I think you got to give it to them.
Were they picked last?
Last.
They were picked last in the SEC. Wow. Okay. I don't even know if I can argue against that. What do you got, Tyler? There's only one other guy that I think is in that conversation for me.
Well, I'm going to go 2 other guys. And I like the pick, but also I'm going to throw Hubert Davis in that conversation. And also Anthony Grant from Dayton. I think he's done a really good job as well.
Yep.
That's a really good call. That's a really good call, too. There's nobody that is easier to root for than Anthony Grant and that Dayton Flyers program for everything that he went through personally with his family in the last year, and the fact that they were this good just, what was it, 4 years ago? 2020, right? When they had Obi Toppin. Yeah, and they had they legit chance to win a national title, and it did not end up coming to fruition for obvious reasons. Mac, this is from Matt. Will Nebraska win a single road game all year in the Big Ten? Is that going to happen? Can they get it done? All they got to do is win 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. I mean, I think you know, it's hard to win on the road. I mean, we talk about it all the time, and it's not like they were expected to do a whole lot. They've played their tails off at home for sure. 1-7 right now on the road in total. That means they're probably 0-5 in the Big Ten. So they go.
No, they're 0-7 on the road in the Big Ten, and they won at Kansas State, but they're 0-7 on the road in the Big Ten. Yep.
At Indiana, at Ohio State, at Michigan. I think they can win one of those 3.
They better win one of those 3, man, because all 3 of those teams, their season will be done in like the next week. They better get one of those. Tyler, have you had a chance to watch Easy Tominaga play at all this year? This kid is a lot of fun. We got to get you. We got to get you on Nebraska.
Yeah, when they went to Illinois, I was watching the game and really pulling hard for Nebraska. And Tominaga, I like that kid. He can get it going. So yeah, he's a fun guy to watch for sure.
All right, Tyler.
Does he have another year left? Does he have a COVID year left, Rob?
I just assume every single person in college basketball has a COVID year left, Mac.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Tyler, if one of these teams could win a national title, who would you want to win? Illinois or Kentucky?
I would want Illinois to win just so they know what winning feels like. Yeah, I think Kentucky, they've had their share of national championships, and it would be a new experience for Illinois, and I couldn't imagine how much they blow up my timeline after I've criticized them all year. So I'd thoroughly enjoy that.
I wish we had a live cam on our producer Trevor, an Illinois alum's face right now as you said that. So that would be quite enjoyable. Mac, this question comes from Holt. Is eating chipped ice the same thing as drinking water?
No. I mean, no. The sensation certainly isn't. Like, if you're talking about the caloric intake or what it does to your body, then probably no difference. But if you don't know the difference between eating chipped ice and drinking water, I don't know. You should be rooting for Illinois or somebody.
I will say that there is nothing that makes me angrier here in in the Philly area, they have something called water ice, which is basically just like it's a slushy, right? But they call it water ice. And it drives me crazy because water and ice are the exact same thing. One is just colder than the other one. You can't call it water ice. It's the same thing. What is water ice? That makes absolutely no sense. Am I wrong here?
Are you
It drives
kidding
me
me?
crazy. It's a slushy.
It's
They
two
call it
different
water ice.
things. Water and ice
Yeah,
is two different things.
water ice is one thing. We're going to be back right after this. All right, welcome back to Last Call. Rob Doster, Chris Mack, Tyler Hansbrough. We are the Field of 68. We're going to be here for about the next 8 minutes answering some of the most ridiculous questions that have ever been asked in the history of questions. We ended last segment talking about whether or not you can drinking water and eating chipped ice was the same thing. I had to go on a rant about water ice and why it's the most horrifically named thing in the history of the planet. And we have a follow-up question, Mac. This is from again. He wants to know, is water wet?
Come on, man. This is the dumbest question I've ever seen. I mean, it's
Is
the
it wet?
very definition. That's how things get wet, from water. Yes, water's wet.
But it's the water that makes stuff wet. So how could water be wet if it's the stuff that
And
makes
it's in
stuff
it
wet?
in its state. You know what I mean? So it is wet.
No, the only way you can be
Come on.
wet is if you get water on you. Tyler,
So if you
Tyler,
pour
be the
water,
tiebreaker
if
here.
you pour water on water, are you kidding me?
You're going to
What's
make
going on?
water.
It's absolutely wet. I mean, it's as wet as it wet gets.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it's. I'm with Mac on this question right here.
But it's water. This is
Come on,
like the what was the
Next
question?
question.
Does a
Come on,
straw have
Duster,
one
next
hole or
question.
two holes? Does the straw have one hole or two holes? All right. This one is specifically for Tyler from Jacob. And he wants to know, Tyler, would you have to pick one of these because I know you're going to try to say you won't want to do either of them. Would you rather sleep with one tiger in a tiger cage or sleep with many bears out in the wilderness?
I would rather sleep with many bears out in the wilderness. One, I feel like I'm free to roam if I have to. And if I have to sleep with anything in a cage, I kind of feel like I'm contained. And I don't really like that feeling. And also, it could be close quarters with those with that tiger in there. So I'm not too excited about being in a cage with the tiger.
This is the
Back, you got
dumbest
to
shit.
answer, man.
Come on, man. Who the hell would want to sleep in a cage with a tiger? Are you kidding me? I mean,
Tiger
maybe if
King,
I
man.
like had it from the time it was born all the way up till it was like 5, like you see on TikTok, those people that have like animals that they found somewhere when it was like born and then the animal loves them. But like if it's just some random tiger that I got to sit in a cage with, are you fucking kidding me? That's not even a question.
Yeah, I think you guys
Oh
are
my God.
100% right on this one. All right, this is the question that I teased, Tyler, and we have I think we got about 4 minutes, so we can really flesh out the answer to this. There is currently an invasion of hippos in the Amazon, and the reason there's an invasion of hippos in the Amazon is because Pablo Escobar had a zoo there in like the 80s, and they escaped when he was arrested or taken into custody or whatever happened, and they've been breeding in the wild. So there is an infestation of these large pink hippos roaming around the Amazon. I'm putting you in charge, Tyler. You have unlimited funds, unlimited access to whatever resources you need. How do you deal with the invasive species that is hippos in the Amazon?
I let them live, and I just let them do their thing. I'm not messing with the hippos. And also, we have an invasion of anacondas from the same thing, where a lot of people they buy these animals when they're all little and they're not an issue. Then all of a sudden they get huge and big, and then people can't handle them, so they just take their snakes or whatever hippos for this instance, and they can't take care of them. So of course they're roaming out in the wild. Now they got a hippo population, and just like we have an anaconda population down there in Florida. But no, let the animals be the animals, and sooner or later, nature will run its course. If they're not built for that area, then unfortunately they'll die off. And I'm sorry, Peter, that's what happens. And or some people will go out there and hunt them, and they'll take care of the population. And you'll see all these rogue snake hunters down there in Florida. I think they're the dumbest people in the world to go down in the swamp and grab a snake. But you got people out there that they like doing that type of thing, so I'm not going to stop them.
He said, "I'm sorry, PETA. That's what happens." Mac, you're down there in Florida. Have you run into any anacondas down there?
No anacondas. Thank heavens. I would not know what to do. I get nervous on like a 2 foot, 3 foot, rat snake out in the backyard. So I couldn't handle a 40 foot or however long those suckers get. No way. No way.
What about alligators? Don't you have alligators in Florida? Is that over in your part of Florida?
Yeah. Oh, you see them everywhere. Like, because there's so many different bodies of water, right? You got obviously the ocean, the Gulf, inlets, but all these like lakes that just are out in the middle of nowhere or at the golf courses. I mean, there's alligators always sitting on the side. You got to watch yourself. Don't go in to the pond if you lose a golf ball. You just sort of like let it go.
Like
Even if
chips.
it's on the edge. Even if it's on the edge. Let it go.
Well, listen, this has been another episode of Tyler Hansborough Explains the Environment here on the Field of 68 After Dark on Last Call. This is my favorite part of the show, I'll be honest, is when we can hit Tyler with these questions about different animal species. Listen, for Chris Mack, for Tyler Hansborough, for our producer Trevor Valise, who caught a lot of Illinois strays, this has been Last Call.